On a summer evening in western Pennsylvania, a municipal field can look almost too quiet. The grass is cut, the bases are set, the fence is ready. Yet no children are there, until a team arrives for a paid practice. For many families, that empty field feels strange, because not long ago, kids came to the park first and made the game themselves. Unstructured play meant no coach had to send a message, no parent had to check an app, and no one needed a team shirt. A kid brought a glove, a ball, or sometimes only a pair of sneakers. The rules could change every 10 minutes. The oldest child made the call. The smallest child still got a turn. That was kid-led athletics. It was messy, loud, and often unfair in the small ways children learn to fix. The field taught more than a drill could. Kids learned how to join a group, lose without a speech, solve a problem, and notice who was standing alone. They learned that sports belonged to them too. No one had to drive across a county line to find a place to play. Across western Pennsylvania, those places were tied to daily life. A park sat near a row of homes, beside a school, or behind a fire hall. The basketball court had a bent rim and a familiar crack in the pavement. The old hockey rink smelled like cold air and rubber. The municipal field was not fancy, but it was close. Then youth sports grew more organized. Practices gained set times. Leagues built rules around permits, insurance, and field use. Those needs were not foolish. A crowded park requires care. Order solved real problems, even as it changed the feel of the place. The change was not one big decision. It came through small choices. One team added another practice. A tournament filled a weekend. A field was reserved for a club. Soon, the open hour between events was no longer open. It belonged to someone who had booked it. Travel ball brought chances that local play could not always provide. Coaches could focus on skill. Families found a clear path through a confusing sports world. But the path cost money, time, and fuel. A game that once began with a walk to the park could now require a long drive and a carefully packed cooler. The hardest part is that no one had to mean for pickup to disappear. Parents were trying to help their children. Coaches were giving their evenings. Each choice made sense on its own. Together, the choices made a neighborhood game harder to find. A child who wants to play now may need to know which club owns the hour, which form is due, and whether a field is open. Confusion becomes another quiet gate. Families feel that gate in different ways. One parent may have a flexible job and a car ready for a 2-hour drive. Another may work late, share a vehicle, or care for a younger child. A registration fee is only one cost. There is gas, food, equipment, hotel rooms, and the lost time between work and bedtime. Participation can fade before a child ever says they are done. Volunteer coaches understand this tension better than most. They are asked to teach skills, plan practices, answer messages, calm parents, and keep children safe. Many do this after work with little rest. When the system grows more complex, the volunteer is often the person who absorbs the extra weight. Burnout does not always look dramatic. Sometimes it looks like one more season they cannot give. When every minute must be managed, the sport can begin to feel less like a shared community and more like a service being delivered. The joy gets a clipboard. Even the concession stand tells part of the story. In older parks, a local business might donate drinks, a parent might sell hot dogs, and a grandparent might know half the families by name. People met there.
They traded news, they learned which child had a fast arm, and which one always forgot their hat. When games are spread across distant sites, those small ties weaken. A family may arrive just before a match and leave as soon as it ends. There is less time for the bench talk, the parking lot joke, or the walk home with a teammate. The sport still happens, but the neighborhood around it becomes thinner. A schedule can move bodies without building belonging. This matters because childhood is made from ordinary minutes. The best memory may not be a trophy. It may be the first time a child was trusted to pick teams, the muddy ride home, or the friend who stayed after a loss. These moments do not need a ranking. They need room. A packed calendar can offer excellence and still leave too little space for discovery. When kids have some control, they practice judgment. They test limits. That freedom also changes the meaning of losing. In pickup play, losing usually means choosing new teams. A child can try a new position, change the rule, or start over before dinner. Failure remains real, but it does not have to become an identity.
Western Pennsylvania has long understood the value of shared grounds. Baseball diamonds, football fields, basketball courts, and old rinks are more than sports property. They are public promises. They say a child should have somewhere nearby to move, meet others, and belong. When usage depends only on paid slots, that promise becomes narrower. The question is not whether schedules are needed. It is whether every open minute must be sold or assigned. There are signs of a better balance. A town can protect some drop-in hours. A league can leave space before or after practice. Clubs can share equipment and tell families when fields are truly open. Protecting pickup does not mean rejecting organized competition. Children deserve both. They deserve the chance to work hard toward a goal, and the chance to make up a game with no goal beyond staying outside a little longer. The old rivalry was often between neighboring streets, schools, or parks. Today, the pressure can feel less personal. It is the calendar against the family, the fee against the paycheck, the drive against the workday, and the field permit against the empty afternoon. That is why the problem is easy to ignore and hard to solve. Still, a park can speak plainly. If children arrive and find a locked gate, they learn that sports belong to organized groups first. If they find an open court, a safe patch of grass, and room for a new player, they learn something else. They learn that community can make space. The goal is not to rebuild a perfect past. There was never one. The goal is to keep the best part alive. The feeling that a child can enter a public place without already having a team, a payment plan, or a carefully managed future. Somewhere, a volunteer is still dragging a line through the dirt. Someone is still checking a net, carrying a cooler, or waiting for one more player to show up. Those tasks may never appear in a record book, but they hold the game together. The scoreboard forgets them quickly. Families do not. They remember who made room. The neighborhood pickup game disappeared from many parks because the space around play became harder to reach. More rules, more travel, more cost, and more scheduling filled the hours that once belonged to chains. That story is not finished. An empty field is not only a sign of loss, it is an invitation to decide what belongs there next. The final score will always matter to someone. That is part of sports. But a child finding a team without a tryout, a stranger becoming a friend, or a tired parent getting one peaceful hour at the park may matter longer. Minutes matter because they shape who gets to belong. And sometimes the bravest play in youth sports is simply leaving room for the game to begin.